Krishna, Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning. Srimad Bhagavad class and attentive japa. We'll continue the story of Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. As you know, Hiranyaksha has been killed now by the Lord in his form as the bull. And there's the story being told by Maitreya to Vidur and also Suta Goswami to the sages. So we just started when Suta Goswami speaking. This is a conversation between Maitreya and Vidur, but this on this instance is the Suta Goswami speaking to the sages. Suta Goswami said, Vidur, the descendant of Bharat, was delighted to hear the story of the Lord, who having assumed by his own divine potency the form of a bow, had enacted the sport of lifting the earth from the bottom of the ocean and indifferently killing the demon Hiranyaksha. And Vidur then spoke to the sage as follows. So it is stated here that the Lord assumed the form of a bow by his own potency. His form is not actually the form of a conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is forced to accept a particular body by the high authority of material laws, which proves that we are not the controllers. There is something higher that is controlling us. And Krishna has his, could say, managers and staff doing all the different activities. And one of them is making sure we get an appropriate body. This is the situation. When we leave this body, then we get another body. We don't know what kind of body. This is the danger, that we don't go into lower species, then we are stuck for a very long time. So very important to stay in the right mode. So here is clearly stated that the Lord was not forced to accept the form of a bow by the external power. So in Bhagavad-Gita, the same fact is confirmed. When the Lord descends to this earth, he assumes a form by his own internal potency. The form of the Lord, therefore, can never consist of material energy, like sometimes the Mayavadis think. The Mayavad version that when Brahman assumes a form, the form is accepted from Maya is not acceptable, because although Maya is superior to the conditioned soul, she is not superior to the Supreme Personality Godhead. She is under the control of the Supreme Personality Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Maya is under his superintendence. Maya cannot overcome the Lord. The Mayavad idea that the living entity is the supreme absolute truth, but has become covered by Maya, is invalid, because Maya cannot be so great that it can cover the supreme. So then how can we call the supreme supreme? Then if something else is able to control him, then Maya will be supreme. The covering capacity can be employed on the part and parcel of Brahman, not on the supreme Brahman. So we are described as Brahman, and there is a supreme Brahman, which is Krishna himself. Let's do some prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpata Mandashi Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyet. Nashta Preshu Abdireshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtaki. Hare Krishna. So Vidu said, since you know matters inconceivable to us, tell me, O holy sage, what did Brahma do to create living beings after evolving the Prajapatis, the progenitors of living beings? So Vidu, this is where the conversation started. Before, many weeks ago, the Vidu was asking this question, and this incarnation pastime came about. Now Vidu is just going back to the same conversation that he was having earlier about the Prajapatis and how the population is to evolve. To know matters beyond one's perception, one has to learn from a superior authority in the line of disciplic succession. Just to know who is our father is beyond our perception, never mind anything else. For that, the mother is the authority. Similarly, we have to understand everything beyond our perception from the authority who actually knows. The first avyakta margvit or authority is Brahma, and the next authority in disciplic succession is Narad. Maitreya Rishi belongs to that disciplic succession, so he also is avyakta margvit. Anyone in the bona fide line of disciplic succession is avyakta margvit, as like Srila Prabhupada, he comes in that lineage, and a personality who knows that which is beyond ordinary perception, because this information has come from the Lord himself originally. So Maitreya said, when the equilibrium of the combination of three modes of nature was agitated by the unseen activity of the living entity, by Mahavishnu, so he's going back further still, and by the force of time, the total material elements were produced. The cause of the material creation is described here very lucidly. The first cause is Deva, or the destiny of the conditioned soul. Okay, the material creation exists for the conditioned soul who wanted to become a false lord for sense enjoyment. So Maitreya Muni is explaining that the conditioned soul, when it comes about again, and then the material creation exists for its sense enjoyment. So like the playground that we mentioned before, one cannot trace out the history of when the conditioned soul first desired to lord it over material nature. But in Vedic literature, we always find that the material creation is meant for sense enjoyment of the conditioned soul. There is a nice verse which says that the sum and substance of the conditioned soul, sense enjoyment, is that as soon as he forgets his primary duty to render service to the Lord, he creates an atmosphere of sense enjoyment, which is called Maya. That is the cause of material creation. So no one can argue about when and how the conditioned soul became desirous of sense enjoyment. And this is something we sort of try and understand every week. And questions always asked that, how did we get here? So Srila Prabhupada mentioning his purport that no one can argue about when and how the conditioned soul became desirous of sense enjoyment. So it's a very difficult topic. But the cause is there. Obviously, we are here. So there is a reason behind it, Srila Prabhupada says. Material nature is an atmosphere meant only for sense enjoyment of the conditioned soul. And it is created by the personality of Godhead. It is mentioned here that in the beginning of the creation, the material nature or Prakriti is agitated by the personality of Godhead, Vishnu. There are three Vishnus mentioned. One is Mahavishnu, another is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and the third is Kshirodaksha Vishnu. From Bhagavad-Gita, also we learn that Prakriti begins to work and is still working under Krishna or Vishnu's glance of superintendence. But the Supreme Personal Godhead is unchangeable. One should not mistakenly think that because the creation emanates from the Supreme Personal Godhead, he has therefore transformed into these material cosmic manifestations. He exists in his person form always, but the cosmic manifestation takes place by his inconceivable potency. So the Lord stays the whole. He stays Puranam, even though he creates this massive material energy, material world. He still stays whole. That's what's mentioned here. The workings of that energy are difficult to comprehend, but it is understood from Vedic literature that the conditioned soul creates his own destiny and is offered a particular body by the laws of nature under the superintendence of the Supreme Personal Godhead, who always accompanies him as a Atma. So although we'll get an appropriate body according to our desires and our karma, the Lord is still with us all the time in our hearts. He's always remained with us. Doesn't matter what body we get, he always accompanies us as a friend. The primordial matter or Prakriti, material nature, consists of three modes, generates four groups of five. So now you're just telling us how everything is created. The first group is called the elementary and consists of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. That's the five main elements we are made of and the material world is made of. The second group of five is called Tanmatra, referring to the subtle elements, which is the sense objects. So we consist of the elementary elements and then the Tanmatra, the sense objects, subtle elements, which includes sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. The third group is the five sense organs for acquiring that knowledge: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. The fourth group is the five working senses: speech, hands, feet, anus, and genitals. Some say that there are five groups of five. One group is the sense objects, one is the five elements, one is the five sense organs for acquiring knowledge, and another it is the senses for working. And the fifth group is the five deities who control these divisions. So there's a deity for everything we do, for hearing, for seeing, even evacuating. There's a deity for everything. So separately unable to produce a material universe, they combined with the help of the energy of the Supreme Lord and were able to produce a shining egg. Now we're talking about the universe itself. For over 1,000 years, the shiny egg lay on the waters of the causal ocean in the lifeless state. Then the Lord entered it as a Garbhodaksha Vishnu. From this verse, it appears that all the universes are floating in the causal ocean. So originally they're all floating like eggs, egg shapes, until the Lord enters it and gives it life. From the navel of the personality of Godhead, Garbhodaksha Vishnu sprouted a lotus flower, effulgent like 1,000 blazing suns. This lotus flower is the reservoir of all conditioned souls. So it seems that this is where we lie dormant. And the first living entity who come out of the lotus flower was the omnipotent Brahma. It appears from this verse that the conditioned soul who rested within the body of the personal Godhead after the dissolution of the last creation came out in the sum total form of the lotus. This is called Hiranyagarbha. The first living entity to come out was Lord Brahma, who was independently able to create the rest of the manifested universe. The lotus is described here as effulgent as the glare of 1,000 suns. This indicates that the living entities, as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, are also of the same quality, since the Lord also diffuses bodily glare known as Brahmjyoti. When that Supreme Personal Godhead, who is lying on the Garbhodaksha ocean, entered the heart of Brahma, Brahma brought his intelligence to bear, and with intelligence invoked, he began to create the universe as it was before. So before the living entities are sent back again into the material world, Brahma is first produced and he makes the creation ready for us. At a certain time, the personality of Godhead, Karna Daksha Vishnu, lies in the Karna ocean and produces many thousands of universes from his breathing. Then he enters again into each and every universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu and fills up half of his universe with his own perspiration. The other half of the universe remains vacant, and that vacant region is called outer space. Then the lotus flower sprouts from his abdomen and produces the first living creature, Brahma. Then again, as Kshirodaksha Vishnu, the Lord enters the heart of every living entity, including Brahma. This is confirmed in Bhagavad-Gita. Thus, in the 15th chapter, the Lord says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and by me are remembrance and forgetfulness made possible. As the witness of the activities of the individual entities, the Lord gives each one remembrance and intelligence to act according to his desire at the time he was annihilated in his last birth in the last millennium. This intelligence is invoked according to one's own capacity or by the law of karma. So this is the fate of the living entity mentioned here. Brahma was the first living entity. So some reason is repeated again and again. Brahma was the first living entity and he was empowered by the Supreme Lord to act in charge of the mode of passion. Therefore, he was given the required intelligence, which is so powerful and extensive that he is almost independent of the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as highly posted manager is almost as independent as the owner of a firm. Brahma is described here as independent because as the Lord's representative to control the universe, he almost as powerful and independent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord, as the Supreme Super Soul within the Brahma, gave him the intelligence to create. So it's mentioned that Brahma is nearly as powerful and independent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he can create things, but he's not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's just a representative, and he has this power and independence because the Lord has given it to him. This is the thing. The Lord, as the super soul within Brahma, gave him the intelligence to create. So he didn't have the intelligence, the Lord gave it to him. Therefore, the creative power of every living entity is not his own. And same applies to us. We should remember that our mind, intelligence, our abilities are given by the Lord, and we should never be proud that I have done this, or I have reached this far, I have got all these qualifications. It's all given by the Lord. He gives us the intelligence to create those qualifications. Therefore, the creative power of every living entity is not his own. It is by the grace of the Lord that one can create. There are many scientists and great workers in this material world who have wonderful creative force, but they act and create only according to the direction of the Supreme Lord. A scientist may create many wonderful inventions by the direction of the Lord, but it is not possible for him to overcome the stringent laws of material nature by his own intelligence. Nor is it possible to acquire such intelligence from the Lord, for the Lord's supremacy would then be hampered. It is stated in this verse that Brahma created the universe as it was before. This means that he created everything by the same name and form as in the previous cosmic manifestation. So even Brahma's intelligence or creativity is limited. He can only create within what Krishna wants him to create. He can't go out and create his own, just do completely his own thing. He has a certain boundaries in which he can create. And then Maitreya Muni continues to say about this creation, though. So the humans are created. First Brahma is created, then humans are created, and all the universes are created. And then there's 5 layers of illusion, which I think there was a class on a few weeks ago. First of all, Brahma created from his shadow the coverings of ignorance of the conditioned souls. So when we are created, or when we come into the material world, we are put into illusion. They are 5 in number and called Tamsira, Anda Tamsira, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. The conditioned souls or living entities who come to the material world to enjoy sense gratification are covered in the beginning by 5 different conditions. So it's not, we say false ego, or we go by illusion. Actually, there's 5 kinds of illusion that we are covered by. The first condition is a covering of tamsira, or anger. Constitutionally, each and every living entity has minute independence. It is misuse of that minute independence for the conditioned soul to think that he can also enjoy like the Supreme Lord, or to think, why shall I not be free enjoyer like the Supreme Lord? This forgetfulness of his constitutional position is due to anger or envy. The living entity, being eternally a part and parcel servitor of the Supreme Lord, can never by constitution be an equal enjoyer with the Lord. So, and that's a fact. When he forgets this, however, and tries to be one with him, his condition is called tamsira. Now then, anda tamsira. So that is the illusion that we can enjoy without the Lord. And we have, we have minute independence, not complete independence. And the second illusion is anda tamsira, which involves considering death to be the ultimate end. The atheists generally think that the body is the self, and that everything is therefore ended with the end of the body. Thus, they want to enjoy material life as far as possible during the existence of the body. Their theory is, as long as you live, you should live life prosperously. Never mind whether you commit all kinds of so-called sins. You must eat sumptuously, beg, borrow, and steal. And if you think that by stealing and borrowing, you are being entangled in sinful activities for which you will have to pay, then just forget that misconception, because after death, everything is finished. So that is their belief. That's called anda tamsira. No one is responsible for anything he does during his life. This atheistic conception of life is killing human civilization, but it is without knowledge of the continuation of eternal life. So anybody who thinks like that is in big trouble. This anda tamsira ignorance is due to tamas. The condition of not knowing anything about the spirit soul is called tamas. This material world is generally called tamas because 99% of its living entities are ignorant of the identity as soul. Almost everyone is thinking that he is this body. He has no information of the spirit soul. Guided by this misconception, one always thinks this is my body, and anything in relation with this body is mine, They become attached to so-called home, motherland, children, wealth, and opulence. And as these attachments increase, moha. So this is the fourth illusion that we have. Moha, as this increased moha, or the illusion of this bodily concept of life also increases. Because the idea that I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine also increases. And as the whole world is put into moha, or sectarian societies, families, and nationalities are created, and they fight with one another. And there's also mahamoha, means to be mad after material enjoyment, especially in this age of Kali. Everyone is overwhelmed by the madness to accumulate paraphernalia for material enjoyment. So we want everything, best cars, best houses, best clothes, best jewelry, everything. That's mentioned here as mahamoha. We just want to enjoy. And we are, being in Krishna consciousness, we are blessed that we have Prabhupada's books, we have the scriptures which remove this illusion. This is the thing. People who don't read scriptures are under this illusion. They think they're not answerable to anybody. There is no God. Whatever you do in this life, if you get away with it, just as well, because when you're dead, there is no reaction. That's it. Everything is over, and whatever you've done, if you manage to enjoy yourself, well, great. That's a good thing, because after that, everything's finished. But they don't realize that this journey that we are in is only a portion, part of our journey, and it's been going on for a very long time, and these journeys will continue. The whole journey is millions of lives. This is just one little journey, which is changing from one train platform to another train. Then we get into another journey from this other train. Like many of you must have caught trains when you're going somewhere far. You have to sometimes change trains 3-4 times. But this train, we have changed millions of times from one journey to another journey to another journey to another journey. But our scriptures show us how we can stop this journey. Otherwise, it just go on perpetually, on and on. Sometimes it will be a great journey, sometimes not so great journey. So scriptures are very important for this purpose. And listening to Bhagavatam, listening to Bhagavad-Gita, are very important. So we can get out of this circle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So thank you so much for listening. It was quite a complex topic there, and I hope you managed to get something out of that. And I'd like to ask Rukmini Mataji, anything you found that stood out for you, Mataji, from this? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very, very interesting and very, very fearful for us, for human being, how many times we are dying and taking birth and what karma we are doing. But it's difficult to get rid of this cycle. So I don't know what to do for the best for us. So we are already on a good path, and we are learning this Bhagavatam, and we are attending all this function of the religious. But still the karma will not leave us. So what karma we do, it all depends upon us. But of course, this spiritual studies and activities, it's really helpful to us in this Kali Yuga. We can't do anything more because everything is destined. But only this Bhagavad Nam, Harinam is useful for us. So only that thing we can do. Otherwise, other things are all not necessary. And this is the necessity of our life. I like this very much, and very confusing and very fearful. All so very nice class. Prabhuji, this chapter is very nice. They are opening our eyes, and we have to be careful, and we have to be on the track. We shouldn't miss our aim of the life. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, very nice, Mata. You're absolutely right. It's amazing. Oh, actually, first of all, let me welcome you all. Mata, sorry, my father-in-law ji. I'm not sure whose galaxy tab, but welcome to the program. Jai Prabhu, Pata Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, and Prem Prakash Prabhu. Yes, Mata, you're absolutely right. And this is just telling us, this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, that these 5 illusions, the scriptures, Prabhupada's purports, they help us to remove the coverings of these illusions that we had before, and many of them have been removed already. Moha is a little bit difficult one. Mahamoha, we keep chanting, then they get removed slowly. And also you mentioned karmas. From our chanting and devotional service, serving the Vaishnavas, our karmas are flattened. So if we were supposed to get big reaction for some things we've done, we only get a minor reaction. So our karmas, our reactions are being dissolved by this Krishna consciousness movement, following the instructions of this Krishna consciousness movement. So it's a beautiful, this is why nobody can leave. Once you enter Krishna consciousness, you can't leave, because the damage, you do too much damage. There's too big a price to pay to leave Krishna consciousness, because once you've learned that what you're getting out from this, we're paying a very, very small price in terms of 4 regulations and 6 chanting 16 rounds. It's a very small price to pay for what we're getting in return. But main thing is we have to understand what we're getting. This is why Prabhupada says that don't follow blindly, test it yourself, understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, because it's scientific, the evidence is right there. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, Jai Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. It's a wide range of topics discussed in this chapter. And my topic discusses process of creation. But at the start of the chapter, we get to learn more about Vidura, so I'll just mention a couple of points before I come on to the creation bit. So Vidura was not only a friend of Krishna, but he was a great devotee of his. Vidura left the palace of his elder brother because his father refused to accept Krishna's advice to resolve the misunderstandings and avert war. So Vidura showed by example that anywhere that Krishna is not honored is not a place that is suitable for human habitation. So Vidura's biological father was Vyasadeva, who is an incarnation of Narayan. Since he was born of a great father, Vidura was himself a great personality. So Vidura purified all of his passion by traveling to places of pilgrimage. So when one goes to a sacred place, they should not only take bath there, but they should search out great sages like Maitreya and take instructions from them. If one does not do this, traveling to places of pilgrimage is simply a waste of time. So go on to creation then. So what is it? What is the cause of material creation? The material creation exists for conditioned souls who wanted to become a false lord for sense enjoyment. Let's go through stages. So when the equilibrium of the combination of 3 modes of nature was agitated by the activity of living entity, by Mahavishnu, the force of time, the total material elements were produced, which I believe is called the Mahatattva. So the false ego which is of three kinds, evolved from the Mahatattva. From the false ego intent, evolve groups of 5 principles, like 5 elements, 5 sense objects, 5 sense organs, 5 working organs, 5 deities. All of these combine with the help of the living, with the help of the energy of the Supreme Lord, produced a shining egg. So for over 1,000 years, the shining egg lay on the waters of the Kazila Ocean in a lifeless state. The Lord then entered it as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So from the navel of the personality of God, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, sprouted a lotus flower, and the first living entity, Brahma, came out from this flower. The Supreme Personality of God then entered the heart of Brahma, who then gained the intelligence to create the universe as it was before. Firstly, Brahma created the 5 coverings of ignorance of the conditioned selves. As you mentioned, we discussed this last week. I mean, it's things like the forgetfulness of the living entity's constitutional position, and the knowledge of the spirit self. So, without creating the ignorance, I mean, living entities easily find their way back to the spiritual world. So I think, yeah. So I think we stop there. So yes, I'll leave it there. But so one of the things I'm wondering about is, like, because he says now living entities enter the material world because they wanted to enjoy independently from Krishna. Would there be any living entities that have never entered the material world, because they didn't want to enjoy independently from Krishna and have always been in the spiritual world?
Yeah, his associates, the gopis, etc. So anybody could fall down. Even the gopis can fall down, but they don't want to fall down. So the thing is, we have fallen down not because it's mentioned that anybody who's in Vaikuntha or in Goloka doesn't fall down. But we fall down because of our free will, because Krishna does not interfere with our free will. We always have the right to leave. We know Krishna's prisoners. He doesn't keep us prisoners in Goloka or Vaikuntha. If we want to leave, we want to enjoy without him, he allows us to leave. And he even so nicely creates a world for us where we can imitate him. This is the amazing thing. He created this world. Go on then, if you want to enjoy for yourself, you want to be me, I'll create this illusion for you. You can go and enjoy it. But obviously, if you do wrong things, there'll be reactions, etc. There has to be some discipline. There has to be a system to work. So we are here now. The gopis in Goloka and the devotees Vaikuntha, many of them don't want. They don't want to think about life without Krishna, so that they don't fall. So it's just about free will, Prabhu. If somebody wants to fall, they will fall to the material world, but a lot of them don't want to. There's more population up there than in the material world, so many of them don't want to enjoy without Krishna, so they don't fall. Does that make sense, Prabhu?
Okay, thank you. But so there could be some living entities that have never seen the material world or never fall down.
This is what I've heard. Yes. Okay. Shall we go to Partha Prabhu? Partha Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to everyone. Prabhuji, I was, to be very frank, I was very less concentrated on the class today. But I was listening to all the realizations, which are very nice. And Rukmini Mataji mentioned about like Krishna consciousness, how it is helping us now not to be in this Maya. That is really nice. And all the points, Prabhu. That's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you. That's really good. Okay. I don't know if Praveen Mataji is able to speak.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Nani Mataji.
You just now said that you have heard something about material world. What is that?
I'm saying that Krishna has created this material world for people who want to enjoy without him. Jai Prabhu want to know if there are some entities who have never fallen into the material world, and I'm saying, as far as I know, there are, because those entities don't want to enjoy without Krishna. We are here because we want to enjoy without Krishna. I mean, this is what I know, that this is what I've heard, that many of his associates don't fall, because if they do come. Actually, having said that, that doesn't mean that they haven't seen the material world. They may have seen the world because they enter the pastimes of Lord Krishna. They come to help him. They come here to support him. That's why Srila Prabhupada came here to do a mission for Krishna. So they can come to the material world but for a different reason, and not that they have been sent as to enjoy without Krishna. They can be sent here to do and to prachar, so to speak. So they can come. So many of them may have, if they want to come and preach about Krishna, they can come down in that respect. Not that they've been sent here. It's like a prison. There are a lot of people go to the prison to preach. I know. So the preachers who go every morning to preach, and then they come out in the they spend a few hours there with the prisoners. They preach to them, and then they come out. They're not prisoners themselves. So just because you're going into prison doesn't mean you are also a prisoner. So it would make sense that a lot of his associates who would not want to be here, they just come here to be on Krishna's instructions to do something.
Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, just on that point, what you mentioned in the end, Prabhuji, like Kamalkant Prabhu in Bhagavad-Gita, he mentioned that, I mean, even Srila Prabhupada, it's a spiritual suicide, like impersonalists do a spiritual suicide, thinking that they're going to merge within the Bhagwan or Brahman.
Yeah.
They're just going to merge. They don't have any self-identity. Whereas devotees are not feeling like that. They know that they are self-identity. And being with Krishna, as you said, they come to participate in the pastimes. So they won't stay there. They will come. They will come to participate in the pastimes. That's all, Prabhuji.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay, Prem Prakash Prabhuji.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Ram.
Prabhu.
Hi, Prabhu. So I was just wondering, I mean, what I know from earlier, Prabhuji, is that the Kam, Krodh, Lobh, and Moh, basically. So Kam, Krodh, and Lobh actually goes with as our body grows old and the things goes, basically. But Moh is something which is very difficult to get over, and that is the main cause of being attached to something and endeavor for that thing and then get another birth as well. Obviously, the more of what I understand is, and from the Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, is that the chanting and association with devotees and the lordships and doing devotional service uh, is to please Lord Krishna, and then by his mercy, if he wills, then that goes away. It's not that easy to go away. And then the more it doesn't actually go away as well. The important thing is that we transfer our moha to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and the devotional service. And that is possible when we actually take up to that thing, or basically starts missing that. So that is quite important thing. The creation is very subtle and it's difficult for insignificant beings like us to understand, but it is very simply explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, as simple as possible for us to understand, but it's not easy to understand. It's just like indication or sanket that this is how the things got created. But actually it is much more complex than we can perceive as well. But the crux is that it's given that we have to come over of this material creation both materially and subtle, which includes the Mo as well. And then Mo and Mahamu, the further clarification, it's not that simple as well. I would say that we should chant more and then try to associate, and then we should try to do more of the devotional service, even if we are not willing to do so forcefully, because we wouldn't be, I mean, few days might be very interesting doing it, but as we keep on continuously doing it, then another testing starts, that are we qualified to keep on doing that again every day in the same routine? And we will see that there is a zigzag graph in a bhakti, or basically sadhana, or our desire, to be honest, the desire to do that thing. But the important thing is that we should still keep on doing it, whether we really enjoy, don't enjoy. Eventually, if the mercy is there, then we'll start enjoying. It said that yen kain prakaren. I mean, by hook or by crook, just get involved, and by the mercy will come eventually. So that's what I have for today, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Absolutely. Now, thing if we are chanting and we're not enjoying it, that's more reason to chant more, because obviously there's a blockage there somewhere. There, if the love is not flowing, then there's an issue, and then we need to force it more to open that blockage and get that love flowing, because love is already there. It's not something we have to go and buy from a shop, or or find it from somewhere. It's already there. It's just dormant. It's lying there. The love is lying dormant in our heart for Krishna. It was always there because we have come from the spiritual world. This is where we belong. We were there. Whether people have seen the material world or not, but we have definitely seen the spiritual world. This is the thing. Whether his associates have come on a mission in the material world, it doesn't matter. But we have definitely all seen the spiritual world. We were there with Krishna. Our love was there, awakened, and the love is now dormant. So the chanting that we do is to awaken that love, and we're only doing 16 rounds. Recommended is 64, but it's just not possible, especially for Grestas, to do 64 rounds. If you really want to awaken, then that's the right quantity, the right force to push that blockage out. But 16 is a minimum, and we can do as many on top as we can and attentively as we can, because we try to awaken that love, and it's there, it's scientific, and it works. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else like to add something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I just want my grandson to say Hari Bol to everyone. Krish, say Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Radhe Radhe.
Hari Bol.
Radhe Radhe. Yeah, Krishna's here. Say Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
He's listening. Okay, one more time. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Yes, very nice. I just want to say immense gratitude to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada for giving us the guidance. And I just want to do my chanting attentively, which is still not happening because the mind is still going everywhere. So yesterday I was listening to Lal Govind Prabhu's class, and he was telling the importance of Harinam. So like even in the next 10 years, 20 years, I can chant nicely, I will be very, very fortunate. So I just got to keep working on it, Prabhuji, for like remembering all the names and stories. It's just beyond my intelligence or my power, so I just got to perfect my chanting, and I think that will, that will help me. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. So yeah, immense gratitude to all the devotees as well for giving us the nectar and giving the classes, so to keep us on the track.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Absolutely. We all struggle with the chanting. chanting is something, because now we are talking to each other, we're getting association, and we're getting variety. So we can focus on this, but chanting is something that only we can do, nobody else can do for us. We have to do it in a secluded way. So it's not the most exciting thing to do. What they say, the name is bitter, but the taste is sweet. So chanting the holy name may seem very difficult, but once you get the taste, it is very, very sweet. But we just have to keep trying. And Krishna only wants to endeavor. He knows that for conditioned souls who have layers and layers of illusion, dormant love, and everything is everything that is perverted. We are in a perverted situation. We're like upside down to how we should be. So it is very difficult. He understands that, but he just wants to endeavor, because it's the endeavor that gets the mercy. So thank you so much. I think we'll just do one round. It's nearly 10 to 9. We'll do one round. And Mataji, Rukmini Mataji, would you like to do one round, please? Hare Krishna.
Yes, please. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda